Welcome, everybody, to Where is Jho Low? This is our third week of doing this. And today we have a very special guest, Syed Saddiq, who doesn't need any introduction from me. He became the youngest minister in Malaysia's history in 2018, becoming Minister of Sports, Youth and Sports. I actually got to know him or heard about him. This is the first time we've met, but I heard about him in 2016 when he was still a law student, and put out a statement criticizing then Prime Minister Najib for his involvement in the 1MDB scandal, which was a very brave move at the time because Najib was still in power. So it's great to finally meet you and great to have you on the show.
It's a genuine pleasure, and as I shared privately with you before, keep on doing the amazing thing which you do, and Malaysians like myself are indebted to the great work and exposure which you did in strengthening democracy at home.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, and to you too. So we're here today to talk about Jho Low. Where is he? You know, we started off on our first edition with photos of him in China at Shanghai Disneyland, which generated a lot of attention. Last week we looked a bit about how is Jho Low able to operate using his wife as a cutout in Hong Kong, joining yacht clubs. And today I want to get your experience and your take on why Malaysia doesn't push China more on this. If we know he's in China, and this is crucial for Malaysia to get some more of this money back, right? Let's just recount quickly. 4.5 million has come back. $4.5 billion has come back, but Malaysia's still on the hook for lots of debt here. So can you just start by helping our audience understand why Malaysia doesn't push China a little bit more on this issue?
I think I just want to start by pointing out that Malaysia has a very close relationship with China. Obviously, the previous government signed huge multi-billion-dollar deals with the Chinese government. So China is seen to be a huge investor. However, while China is seen to be a huge investor and partner, there are also forces in Malaysia who seek to use that for their own personal interests. And as what has been proven in court via 1MDB and potential partners who could bail out 1MDB when they realized that they were sinking. And China was seen to be one of the major partners. So when the new government came in, I think we were one of the only democracy which was able to review the multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Chinese government. However, one deal which still has not been secured is to bring back Jho Low, because this is not just about bringing revenge. It is not. It is about closure for the Malaysian people to understand where the billions of dollars of taxpayers' money went, what actually happened in the 1MDB scandal. So what truly frustrates me, I think because of this push and pull relationship and intricate business relationship, investor relationship between Malaysia and China, it becomes very hard to push for this to happen. However, I think when it comes to issue of a rule of law, ensuring that the Malaysian people gets to guard its good governance and integrity, I think we should not compromise on this. And the fact, sir, that you pointed out that there are photos of Jho Low being in China, in Disneyland on a holiday, the least that the Malaysian government could do, instead of just dismissing the report, is to demand an answer from the Chinese government. Is that true? Was he really in China? How could he be in China in an open area, right, celebrating with the family and friends without getting caught? I mean, that's the basic question, and get a formal answer and response from the Chinese government on this.
Let's unpick this bit by bit. So the first thing is that you've alluded to is that when Jho Low was on the run in China at the beginning of this, and Najib was still prime minister, he was able to negotiate these infrastructure deals at incredibly expensive rates, which was another way to steal money with the connivance of Chinese bureaucrats, very senior Chinese bureaucrats, and to steal more money and use that to fill the holes from the 1MDB fraud. Then, of course, Najib lost power. And the government in which you were a minister renegotiated those deals down to a much lower number. But so Jho Low, still in China, knows all the secrets of that corruption of those deals. That would be one reason why they don't want to give him up, right? And so we find him in China Disneyland in Shanghai, and the home minister says publicly, well, why don't these two foreigners who know where he is, why don't they tell us, as if it's not his responsibility? The Inspector General of the Malaysian Police today says, well, we've put out a Interpol red notice for him in 2018, but we don't know. But they're not really making any real efforts to find him, are they? I mean, let's talk about what concrete steps they could take to if they wanted to do something a bit more aggressive. What could they do?
The least they could do is to haul up the former Attorney General who has opened up the lines of communication with Jho Low's team. Secondarily, is to demand for an official answer through diplomatic channels with the Chinese government on the whereabouts of Jho Low, especially now that there are clear evidence that he is in China, not hiding, openly, parading himself in China, and get why isn't the Chinese government sharing information, crucial information, on a potential culprit which has pilfered billions of ringgit from taxpayers' money, fellow Malaysians, back to the democratically elected Malaysian government.
Who could make that statement? Should that come from the Prime Minister, or where do you think that should come from?
To me, it should come from the cabinet. It's not just from the Prime Minister. It is the collective duty of the cabinet. And the cabinet today is made up of many ministers who came from the previous Pakatan Harapan government as well, who received the mandate in 2018. The least they could do is to ensure that there is closure on this chapter.
Now, the other thing you mentioned was that the former Attorney General, now this is the Attorney General who Najib put into power in 2015 to save his own skin, to stop Najib getting arrested. So he's really an ally of Najib's. That former Attorney General, who's no longer in power, recently it was revealed that he had traveled abroad to meet representatives of Jho Low to negotiate on behalf of Jho Low with the Malaysian government to bring back money. And that was rejected by the current administration, by the current Attorney General. So what you're saying is that that former Attorney General could be brought in for questioning to find out more about where Jho Low is.
Correct. And also, let's not forget that he's kind of a shadowy role. The government denied that he's sent as an official representative. And at the same time, he's saying this is more of his national service, doing it out of his love of Malaysia.
To bring the money back that Jho Low still has stashed offshore.
Correct. And if anything, how much are we getting the best deal? Who is he to represent the interests of all Malaysians? But worse, now that we know that there's an official line of communication with Jho Low and the team, I think this should be fed to the police so that action can be taken. And what more, at least identifying which country they are in and who's supporting who's supporting Jho Low and which country is collaborating in deceiving the good people of Malaysia, so that then we can use diplomatic channels and routes to send a proper message and accountability to this country. So, I mean, on this, to me, it's so open and blatantly wrong, yet we are complicit through omission and silence, which makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that the Minister of Home Affairs could just ridicule this and just sidestep this by, oh, if you have anything, then you should pass it to us. I mean, he should be the one who takes the proactive role to identify, reach out to you and your team, be very kind and conciliatory to get the proper evidence, and then reach out towards the Chinese government and ask whether it's true or not, for them to investigate further. I mean, that's what it's about.
Now, the reason they're not doing that, as you said earlier, is because of the economic realities. China is, for many years now, a decade or more, has been the biggest trading partner. The Belt and Road infrastructure spending is significant. I mean, even pared down, the East Coast Rail Link is $10 billion project. And then you've, of course, got this issue that some people just don't want Jho Low back in Malaysia, where he's going to start talking about all of the corruption that he was involved in and would possibly rope in some more people. So they've got all those things going on where they don't take this action. If you're a frustrated Malaysian or even a frustrated global citizen like myself, what can we do about this? Is there any way that the citizens of Malaysia or others can put pressure onto the Chinese government?
I just want to start off by saying that I think fellow Malaysians must understand that getting Jho Low back is not about revenge and putting one person behind bars. Getting him back provides closure and greater understanding of the web of systemic corruption which has pilfered billions of ringgits of your money and will leave our country in debt from one generation to another. And I believe the truth which will come out will spark a tsunami of reforms in Malaysia, whether it's on political funding, whether it's about understanding dodgy dealings in Malaysia and outside of Malaysia, and to send a very clear signal to the international community that while we welcome investments and huge infrastructure projects, but Malaysia is not a country in which could easily be corruptible for one's own personal interest. And I think that's why it is of utmost importance. I want my fellow Malaysians to understand this is not about vengeance, this is about setting the record straight and creating the tsunami of reforms which we deserve as fellow Malaysians. Secondly, I think if fellow Malaysians speak up on this matter a lot more, sign petitions, organize peaceful protest against the Malaysian government and also directed towards the Chinese embassy, and obviously I want to stress on the word peaceful, to demand for accountability and answers, I think they will be forced to respond, because I take a very different line. I do understand that my country must always have very good ties with China. I personally also have good ties with the embassy. However, that in no way means that we should sacrifice our constitution, the rule of law, the culture of integrity and good governance, which we need to hold on. I mean, if the new government could successfully review multi-billion-dollar deals with the Chinese government and get an amicable solution out of it, why can't we demand for proper accountability on a fellow Malaysian who's now allegedly seeking safe haven in China, right? So I think there is a diplomatic way out of this, but for us to do that, Malaysians and the Malaysian government must be united in demanding for this. Once we are united, I don't think the Chinese government can merely ignore the will of the Malaysian people, especially when they know that we are a highly valuable partner, especially with what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Malaysia is in such a strategic position, and we are a valuable partner. And we want to be a partner, but work with us, not work with those who seek to exploit our country.
So petitions, peaceful protests, and then hopefully the government of Malaysia will make a much higher level complaint to the Chinese government to find out where he is and what's happening. Now, perhaps none of this will lead to anything, but it's a way forward at least, and it's a much more proactive way of dealing with this. So, Syed Saddiq, thank you very much for explaining the context of this and what can be done. And we'll have a very interesting time ahead as we keep following this story.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Tom.